Hello, tubes. Right, where are we at? It's been a few weeks since the old girl Standard 8 appeared. Shall we show us what's happening? Let's start at the back, shall we? So, from the original video, you saw that the boot was full of filler anyway. What we have noticed is, I don't quite understand what they've done with the repair, but they've brazed in some panel here. And it is brazing. I mean, you can see it's brass coloured and everything. And they've obviously put a new lip in, I presume, and hammered it down, then used filler. The thing is, this could be made level and it would look kind of flush. It's never going to be perfect, but it would look a damn sight better than 6 inches of filler that would eventually crack and fall off anyway, unless we can find another boot that's in better condition. So the jury's out on the boot at the moment. I'm kind of not dealing with it because of other stuff I'm dealing with on the car. The other problem was with the filler was so thick that the latches, which use like a sort of hex or box square section that goes in and just basically turns like a C, wouldn't reach. So I'd have had to change them because the filler honestly was like that thick. So there was just no point in that. So that had to come off. But yeah, this brazing and everything, and it's like brazed partially. So what I need to do is probably take it off and have a real good look, because the filler goes right up here as well, you see. But again, not dealing with that one. The sill was completely shot, so I've had to make another sill. Now, the reason for that is the person who makes the sills, because they're handmade, has retired or something from the club, and you can only get them from one place. So I had to make it. It's not exactly the same as the original, but it'll do. There was a couple of holes here and here, and you'll see down there. Now what I had to do here was, it's had a new sill, but what they'd done, and in the inner sill as well, they just jammed the inner sill up and then just stitch welded it at the back, which meant at the top, across the seam, wasn't actually welded, so you could put your hand up, especially in the footwell area, and just wiggle it. So that's why it's all been cut, and you can see the stitches, which all need to be ground down anyway, and same as here. There is a few more repairs to do, just bits here, 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 and I think, yeah, here, and I believe the battery tray, which is going to come out anyway, needs to be repaired. Yeah, the battery tray needs to be repaired, but to be honest, I'm going to cut that fully out and get rid of it. Because the battery can go in the boot. It'll just create space. Underneath, the same with this rear section. It hadn't actually been welded to the footwell, so I used pieces of steel and just with some holes in, speed holes and everything, to make it look a bit better. We've been cleaning up the front suspension, so as you can see, it looks a damn sight better than it did on the original video. It still is another clean, but it's far better than it was. Same with this one. This one's a little bit dirtier for some reason, but it's definitely better than it was, and it means I can actually get in there and see what's happening with it, because something is off with the steering. And it's probably the works. It's got a steering box. I think the worm gear on it is probably worn, so we'll have to see about getting one of those if it is that. What else have we got? There's nothing inside the vehicle now. Before there was a bit of stuff, but yeah, now it's completely empty. The rear seat's going up to Trimworks. Any of you guys who watch Bad Obsession with Binky, the Mini, you'll see the interior guy from Trimworks. We're going to get him to do this back seat. The idea is to put some sort of like Clubman racing bucket seat in, like the old 60s style ones, but then the harnesses to have proper harnesses obviously to go to the back, but it would render this useless. But the idea is to actually, in the base section, so we can still use the back seat, is like make an oval so that we can actually put the harness will go through the seat, and then when we need to, we'll just put inertia belts or lap belts on if we've got like dogs in the back or something, just to make it look a little bit better and easier to use, because not all the time you want to put harnesses on, even though the car never really had seat belts anyway. We put a bit of duck oil on the car just to see what it come up like, because the idea is not to paint it at the moment. We're just going to run it as is. Obviously I will be painting the bare metal. There is a hole in the boot to sort. You can see the stitching that's been going on here. And you'll probably see there's a plate down there as well. Yeah, there's a hole in the boot as well, which needs to be sorted. I've got to drop the tank before I do that, and also the rear valance has another, it's basically a piece of, you could say, T-channel, lowercase T-channel that goes across the back and then welds to this lip. That's completely shot, and mice have been living in there, so obviously whatever they've taken has been wet and that's rotted it out. So I need to sort that, but I haven't got a brake or a bead roller, not bead roller, a sheet metal bender big enough, so I think I'll be ordering one of those. But that's kind of where we're at. But why the lack of update? Well, it's been Retro Rides, which was just the weekend just gone. It's Mallory, I was about to say Shaisley Walsh, but it wasn't, it's Mallory Park. We've done a Statfold show as well, Red Rail and Ale. And we've also done, I think we did Morris Fest as well. So we've done quite a lot of shows, but also this decided basically to shit a chicken. I washed it 2 days before a show and then it just wouldn't work. So I spent 3 weeks trying to get the flipping thing working, thinking the engine had knackered, when it turns out the ECU had basically got a little bit wet. Don't know how, but water somehow managed to leak down a bit of wiring or something. So those of you who follow on Instagram and everything would probably seen I've moved all the ECU wiring further back, so it's nowhere near the actual, well, nowhere near any entry point, i.e. that vent, to get wet. It's basically behind the back of the seat, so it's never going to get wet. But she performed faultless. But I need another ECU, or I need to tune that ECU, but I borrowed that out of the MX-5. So that's another job that needs to be done. But yeah, I just want a Gen 1 ME221 for this, because it works perfect on it, what it did before I got it wet. So running a 442, and it's probably, say, a bit much. It doesn't really need, doesn't get used for it. So £1,000 ECU is a bit much for it. So yeah, I'm gonna look for a Gen 1 again. It's just a used Gen 1 and put it in. So there you go. Anything else happening? Not really. As you can see, I'm keeping busy now. It's going into the winter months. We'll really be getting stuck in on this. Obviously, between this and the other stuff that GFB are doing, we're mega busy, which is a good thing, which is definitely not a bad thing. But yeah, I'll be getting stuck in this, and hopefully it will make its debut, and I really hope it gets there. It's the Pendine Sands Race the Waves. We're hoping we can get it done, which is next April. And most of you are probably saying, you've got loads of time, not every time I keep uncovering stuff in this car, which has not been on the road since 1996, remember. So I have no idea how good the running gear or anything is. The rear diff could be shot. It literally drove on the trailer and that was it. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit the bell notification button. All that helps, to be honest, to give us a bit more traction. And I shall see you in the next one.